So qualifying for the 2024 United States Grand Prix has been concluded. We had the sprint race earlier today at the Circuit of the Americas, and just now the qualifying session has been completed as I record this right now. A very eventful end to the qualifying, which I will obviously get into as well during this video. But here we go, guys. As always, here are the 5 things that we learned from USGP qualifying today from the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. So let's dive into this. Let's start with Sir Lewis Hamilton, someone who is usually an absolute pro at this track. He has won here 5 times in the past. 5 of his 6 United States Grand Prix victories have come at this circuit. The most successful driver in the history of the United States Grand Prix as well. And before this as well, he had never qualified outside of the top 5 during USGP qualifying. But today, he absolutely broke that record by lining up all the way down in P18. In fact, he actually qualified in P19. He only started originally ahead of Guan Yu Zhou and Liam Lawson. Lawson getting all those penalties. He, of course, actually finished up higher in qualifying, got all the way to Q2. Hamilton came out later in the session in the interviews and basically said, well, it's to do with a suspension issue with the car, and he expects to start from the pit lane. I'd be surprised if he doesn't start from the pit lane, just take a bunch of new power units and everything like that, all the components for that. Exactly like Liam Lawson has done for RB as well, because you know you're going to be back there anyway, you might as well take the advantage of new components as well. But yeah, really bad. As things stand, he will line up alongside his former Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas, but I fully expect Sir Lewis to start from the pit lane tomorrow. You never know, he could get points from there, but it is a big ask going off for the performance of his car today. Next up, let's talk about Williams. Now, Williams actually did pretty well in this sprint. I mean, they didn't get any points, didn't finish in the top 8 during the sprint race, but they were in the top 10 in qualifying. Colapinto showing some excellent pace in that car, but they absolutely crashed back down to earth during this one. 16th for Alex Albon, 17th for Colapinto. At least Alexander Albon actually kept the car on the track and got through. Well, not got through, he actually went out in Q1, of course, but he will, I believe they will line up in 15th and 16th because of Lawson going further down due to his penalties. But yeah, really poor performance from Williams. This was always going to be a tough race for them at the end of the day, but still, that is disappointing. I would expect them to be a little bit further up the order. But let's go for some positives for the third thing that we learned, and that is that Alpine have actually got some good pace. Pierre Gasly getting all the way into Q3, start with a top 10 start for the Alpine man. I mean, I guess summoning some of the spirit of adventure really with that Indiana Jones one-off livery that they've got. Ocon went out in Q2, but again he looked pretty quick, and Gasly in particular in Q1, I think he ended up like in 5th or something like that. He was really far up the order. So there is some pace in that Alpine, despite all the turmoil off of the track. They are showing like they could potentially get some points tomorrow. They're looking more likely than Williams as things stand, who of course they're big rival for that 8th place over in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari again up there, some incredible performance by them. Carlos Sainz up in P3, Charles Leclerc, I think he ended up in P4. A bit chaotic towards the end of qualifying, and we'll get into that obviously very shortly. But yeah, really impressive by Ferrari. They look like they are going to be the closest challengers to Lando Norris and Max Verstappen at the front of the grid. And if all the cars, I think off the top of my head, if all the cars finish where they start in terms of the qualifying position, I think that Ferrari again will get the biggest haul of points out of all the constructors. Again, showing that they really have a chance of getting at least second in the Constructors' Championship, and it's not over for the actual title in that battle either. But yeah, I would still expect McLaren to be the favourite for that, given especially if that Lando Norris does start from pole position tomorrow. Now, he got a bit lucky, I'll be honest, he got a bit lucky here. Now, he set a very good lap for his first lap, just ahead of Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen not quite maximising his RB20 in the first run of the final qualifying session Q3, and it looked like it was going to be Max Verstappen that ended up taking pole position because he was going a lot faster on his second lap. Lando Norris was going slower, but he could have recovered it. Of course, we don't know that. However, George Russell ended up flying off the road during the final lap of qualifying, through the final corner as well. So yeah, thankfully Russell is all right, but that did mean that they got a double yellows, and unfortunately the session was stopped prematurely, which basically ended any chance of doing a second run, and that meant that Lando Norris starts on pole. So what will Lando Norris do from pole position? Because honestly, it looks like advantage Max Verstappen in the sprint race, but the Grand Prix is very different. It's a longer race. Race pace comes into it more. Lando looked very quick at times during the sprint race, but obviously his tyres seem to wear out towards the end. So how is that going to affect him over the length of the Grand Prix? I don't know. It's going to be very close between the two of them. I think it's very much a two-horse race for the victory in this one. So yeah, my money though, I would have to say would be on Verstappen, but I hope I'm wrong with that. I hope that Lando Norris wins it and is able to close that championship battle up, because he's already lost points to him this weekend. Just 2 points, but the point is he didn't gain during the sprint race. So there you go, guys. That is the 5 things that we learned from qualifying here in the United States. I am actually over in the UK, as you guys know. I am very tired. It is past midnight over here, but I'm committed. I'm always here for you guys to cover these sessions at the end of the day. And I'll be back tomorrow as well to react to the United States Grand Prix as well, with a 5 things review as always, guys, and bring you plenty more updates, including an F1 news zone on Sunday morning UK time as well. That'll be with you very shortly as well. And go check out our review of the sprint race as well if you missed that. That'll be out on all the social channels as well by the time you see this. So yeah, see you soon, guys. Have a good one. Have a nice Saturday night, and we'll see you on Sunday evening for some more F1 racing action from COTA.